Hey, everybody, welcome into the Arena Fantasy Series discussion portal. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co host and the keeper of Dragonstone in the background in this episode. He was previously at Winterfell, but now he's at Dragonstone. Burley, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. We Starks quickly, while everyone was away from Dragonstone, we figured we'd take it,
All
as the
right.
North remembers. How are
All right.
you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So, of course, this is our House of the Dragon, episode 3 review of Second of His Name. So our reactions to the video. So just a brief warning for all of you. This is a spoiler-filled reactions and review episode. So if you have not watched House of the Dragon episode 3, Second of His Name, please go and watch that before watching our video. So after watching it, come back and enjoy our reactions and our review to this episode. So like I was saying before, Burley, let's break this into two segments, because this episode had like two major arcs. You had or character arcs, basically. You had the Rhaenyra arc, and then you had the Daemon arc. So
Yeah.
obviously the title of this episode, Second of His Name, refers to obviously because they did another time jump. Of course, it's like 3 years now into the future from the previous episode, episode 2. So of course Viserys' first son has been born, and they named him Aegon, obviously. So he is, of course, Aegon Targaryen's second of his name. But this episode, basically, I mean, the two major arcs, I mean, with Rhaenyra, let's go ahead and talk about that. But first, in this first image, for all of you video viewers, this Godswood tree here, like early in the episode, it's interesting how she's sitting there reading, and then she's got the guy playing the guitar there. And the guy playing the guitar, when I first saw him, I thought that it was the same guy from the Witcher series, with Geralt and everything. But no, obviously not. But I mean, it's like maybe the showrunners were taking a little bit of a jab at the Witcher series in a sense. I don't know. What do you think, Burley?
I don't think they were, but I
Okay.
did see other people say that they thought this was the same actor until they looked it up.
Right.
It's this seems in place for this show and this the kind of time period, fictional time period they do. So
Yeah. So anyway, and of course, Alicent, now she's the queen, and of course her status is higher than Rhaenyra's, being the princess still. And of course she comes out and says that the king, orders you to come in, and then she like, all right, I'll do it. Okay, whatever, But she wasn't having it in the beginning there. She's basically like, Viserys, my father, he has his son now, so it's like I'm useless. That's how she was feeling a lot. And as the episode progresses, you start to see the tension build more and more. Of course, as we see Aegon here, it's like his second birthday, I think it is. So his second name, namesake day, I think it's what it was called. But basically, this was where they started the hunt out in the King's Forest. They're outside of King's Landing. And it's the tension was really starting to build between Rhaenyra and her father. What'd you think of that, Burley?
I do like the tension because it has been set up in the previous 2 episodes. Now he has a male heir, and she now feels like, okay, well, succession for me to take over, that's gone.
Yeah.
So I am no longer what I was promised and all this.
Yeah.
So she gives no fucks on this. So she ignores all the duty and all that. Her father wants her still involved and all that, but she's like, why bother?
Right. And in this,
all the lords planning and scheming.
Right. I mean, in this episode, the pressure continues to mount on Rhaenyra to get married and to produce children, and she's like at a point in time where it's like, what if I don't want to get married? I don't want to get married yet. but it's like the pressure just keeps mounting. And of course, in our next image here, we get to see a Lannister. So we get to see the Lannisters in this episode. So of course, Tyrion and Jaime and Cersei's like, great grandparents, I guess, 9 generations before. But anyway, it's like the guy comes up and, he's pretty arrogant, and he's like saying, I could build you a dragon pit, over in Casterly Rock, and then she's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Well, she's like, well, why would I need that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, and he's like, he's just, and she's basically be like, come on, boy, spit it out. And then he's like, well, when you come live with me, and then, you think the way he acted, Tywin would be happy, or Tywin would just be like, you're ruining the name Lannister?
Yeah, or even Tyrion, yeah. And it's funny. It's funny how like he offers her the wine, and then like she takes a sip of the wine, and you could tell on her face that it's like, I don't like this wine, It's like, and then like after she leaves, like he takes like another sip, and then he like just dumps the rest of it on the ground.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so we get back inside the tents and all, everybody's partying and everything, because this is like a big celebration for Aegon, and of course for the hunt, And Rhaenyra just goes right up and gets right in Viserys' face, right in her father's face, and says, you're just trying to shop me off so you can get the biggest fleet or like the biggest army or whatever, and yeah, it was getting pretty tense. And then even, the hand, Otto Hightower had to be like, to kind of stop them, because everybody was starting to look, because, Viserys was raising his voice at her and everything. What did you think of that scene, Burley?
I really like that scene, because like, as we've said, I think part of that was actually in one of the trailers for the series, so it was finally nice to see that moment. And you see, she is like, she doesn't want to just be married off, she wants for love, or for that, and he's got to do, because he is a king, he's a bad king, like a very bad king, he's got to do it for what gives him the most political advantage, so that's what he's trying to do.
But I think deep down though, and we see it later in the episode, when Otto Hightower is coming up to him, he's like, I want her to be happy. I don't want to have to pressure her or to force her into marriage. I want her to find somebody that she wants and all. And then Otto Hightower, the stupidest thing, he's like, just have her marry Aegon. And he's like already drunk, like out of his mind, and he starts like cracking up a little bit, and he's like, he's 2 years old. And then he's just like, he just goes off about the politicking and everything, and he's like, I've had enough of this shit, But anyway, Rhaenyra, she takes off, because she's pissed off, and of course, Sir Criston Cole goes after her and chases her down, and catches up to her, and they have some time together in the forest there. And I thought that was a pretty interesting scene, and he was like, being so thankful to her, because if it wasn't for her and her father, he wouldn't be in the position where he was and all. And he seems to be very loyal at this point in the series. And obviously, as they're sitting by the fire, then of course a boar comes out, and you think it's going to kill them. And of course, Rhaenyra, she's pretty pinned down, and then of course Sir Criston Cole stabs it pretty much, and then Rhaenyra does the rest and finishes it off. But what did you think of that part, Burley?
I really like that she storms off. And I do like, actually, I can't remember if the conversation happens here or after with them, where she's like, I don't want to just be married like this, I want to be, for love and all that. And he's like, well, and he tells her from his perspective of coming up, he's like, because he came up poor and all that, he's like, I'd love to be given the option. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a catch-22. He's trying to give to her, and then they storm off together. He's following her, making sure she's okay. And then when the boar attack, he protects her, but then she's like, "Ooh, I can stab this thing. Let me get out some of my aggression."
Yes.
Because you can tell, like she is frustrated. She's pent up. She just
Oh
wants
yeah,
that.
man. Oh yeah.
And can't blame her. So, but it was just a nice little scene of her just letting loose.
Yeah. And now I want to get towards the end of this arc here. Obviously, she sees the White Heart, and this is like a symbol, a really like a godlike symbol to the people of Westeros, and it's like supposed to bring a good omen if you are to see a White Heart. It's a very rare creature in the world of Westeros there, and for her to be able to see this, and of course Criston Cole, he's taking out his sword, he's gonna he's gonna kill it for her, and she's like, no, put your sword back, let it go. So she knows about these creatures, she'd probably read about them, and so whereas of course Viserys, he gets his stag, but has to stab it twice with the Lannister spear that was given to him, and he was in pretty bad shape. So, and it wasn't a White Heart, which they were hoping for. So this is kind of an omen in a sense that, probably in the world of Westerosi, the Westerosi gods are probably preferring Rhaenyra to be the heir to the crown and not Aegon, and so that was really interesting. And of course they go back. It's really cool. I love that scene.
I don't know if they're really preferring her over Aegon. They're preferring her over her father. I would more say.
Maybe, but anyway, the scene where they're heading, her and Criston Cole are getting back into the camp, and they've got the boar, and she's still covered in blood. I mean, just a badass scene there, man. As she's coming back in, everybody's like just looking, all the men were just like, whoa, it was pretty cool. Yeah. So anyway, that was Rhaenyra's arc in this episode. Now let's jump to Daemon. So, of course, obviously, the beginning of the episode, we see Daemon coming in on Caraxes, and oh man, that was just some kick-ass scenes. I mean, really cool. And the music, I have to say this, Burley. Some of the music when Caraxes and Daemon were coming onto the beaches and burning up everything, the music that was playing was the same music from Game of Thrones episode season 8 episode 3, when the trench was lit when the Army of the Dead was coming. So that was really interesting. It was the same exact type of music from that. So yeah, that was something I noticed there. But yeah, I mean, just you see these guys like running on the beach, and then just Caraxes just incinerates them just right away.
Well, I love just before Daemon and Caraxes comes to burn them, the one guy's getting thinking, "You want me to bang and all this?" Daemon is gonna burn to the one guy talking to the crab feeder, and he's just like, "Daemon is going to burn you all," and all that. And then I love it. And he's like, when he sees Daemon and Caraxes coming, he's like, see, he's like, "Daemon, rescue me!" It's like, dude, you're dead. He's having dragon fire come down. You're just gonna get burned.
Well, yeah, but the guy that was like, oh, my prince, and I'm like 2 seconds later, Caraxes' foot just smashes him.
Yeah.
Just completely, literally crushed him, But anyway, as we go on, of course, the war there is not going well for them. So for the past 3 years. And, we get obviously Corlys. And we get, of course, Corlys's brother is not liking what's going on. He's actually thinking of turning against Daemon and all. And what's interesting is during this battle, it's like the crab feeders army they were doing the smart thing of hiding in the caves, because the caves were their only protection against the dragons and the dragon fire. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, the thing is when a dragon's coming, because a dragon 90% of the time is not quiet. So they know they have the time. You can get down, you get far enough in the cave.
Yeah.
But one thing we should probably mention with the first part with Daemon and Caraxes, when Daemon gets hit, Caraxes, you can tell feels it and gets him out.
Yeah.
So like it does show they have the bond with their dragons.
Right. So this is the same as like in Game of Thrones with Daenerys and Drogon. Yeah, the same exact thing. And it's probably like that with all the Targaryens and their dragon, their dragons. Yeah. So, but as we see, we go back, we're going back to Viserys. And did you notice that, Burley? I just want to point this out. Viserys' fingers. Did you notice that? Like when he's talking to Alicent, like in the room there, you see now two of his fingers have been rotted off, basically.
Oh, I had not noticed that.
But anyway, what's interesting, and this was pointed out on the internet, and I went back to the episode to check it out, and it's actually accurate. That I think it's at the 44-minute mark. There's the scene where Viserys is handing the document to be taken to Daemon. And as he's handing him the document with that hand that has the two, digits, rotted off. But in the editing, they must have messed up the editing and the production of it, because you can see the green around the fingers. So it's like, oops.
They've done that. That's not surprising. They've done that before.
Well, yeah, and actually they did it in Game of Thrones with a Starbucks cup.
Cup. Yeah.
So anyway, so Viserys, with the discussion he had with Alicent, it's like to send him aid. Mm-hmm. And so he decides, okay, we're going to send ships and we're going to send men to help.
And, I think it was like 2,000 men they were going to send.
Yeah. And boy, oh boy, Daemon did not like that when he got the message. And it's funny how you see his face. He's kind of like smiling. He's like, "You son of a bitch! You're gonna. I don't need your help." And then he just goes off on the guy and just like takes his helmet and just smashes the guy in. Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
I love that he just beats the messenger, because he also knows like his brother has shamed him out, outcast him.
Yeah.
Put his daughter as the heir. Now his brother now has a son.
Yeah.
And so like him taking over. He's like it's pretty much done for him, he feels. Yeah. And now his brother's coming to his aid. So now he feels weak. And he's like, just that messenger.
Yeah.
Boy, that guy should have just had target written on his face, because David just beats Slash. He doesn't kill him. He beats him good though.
Yeah. But in the conversation that they were having at the war table there, of course, Corlys' son, and he's going to have a bigger role to play later on in the episodes to come, Laenor. He's the one who came up with the idea of having Daemon be used as bait, to go out there.
Was it him or his brother?
It was him. No, it was him. It was him.
Okay.
He said, let's make him the bait. And it was Corlys's brother who was like against it in a sense, because he was like, this war is going terrible for us. And, he was having a lot of doubts about Daemon, and Corlys had to get in his face and say, don't give us all this mutineerish type of talk, But Laenor was the one who said, Daemon should be the one to go out there. And of course we see, and of course in this image here, we see Laenor's dragon Seasmoke. And boy, it was a pretty good plan in a sense. He goes out there with the white flag, Daemon does, and waits till the guys come up there, and then just cuts them in half and just starts going complete Daemon badass, man. And then of course Laenor comes with Seasmoke and starts burning up the army. And then there's that one part, I love that scene where Seasmoke, like with his feet, just picks up two of the soldiers and throws them like hundreds of yards away. And then Laenor's just like, woo! It was really cool. What'd you think of that scene, man? Yeah.
I love that. And like you see David's doing he like waves the flag, I surrender, and he's holding his sword. And the crab feeder's just setting out all his men. Yeah. And as someone comes to go take the sword from him, he's like, he pretty much gives him the sword, but pulls a knife and stabs him, get his sword back, and just starts mowing through these guys. Crab feeder's like, okay, archers, get him.
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah.
And then Daemon is slowly getting closer, mowing through guys. It reminds me of like one of those when you're playing a video game at the end, near the end with these where it's the bosses in their fortress, and you got to mow down everyone to stop get to them. Yeah. And he's just going through, and then he eventually gets like an arrow or two arrows in him.
Yeah.
And then he hides under the one structure. He's like pulling him out, and you can see he's in pain. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. I know Daemon's not going to die, but he's like, is he going to be enough to win this? And then the dragon comes.
Yep, Laenor.
Start burning those archers. Goes for the archers.
Yep.
And then goes for a bunch of the men.
Yep. Dracarys.
And then Daemon rushes for the crab feeder. We don't see their encounter. No. I know some people were happy and some people weren't. I understand. It's fine. Like I'm not losing sleep that they didn't show it.
Yeah.
Because you've already spent enough, you could tell with the dragon. So they've spent a lot of money to get this done.
Yeah.
So I get it, but you see that he comes out victorious. He comes with like a third of the crab feeder with him.
Yeah. I just want to go back to Laenor real quick because, like I said, he's going to be a big player in the next few episodes. And of course, earlier in the episode, Lord Strong in the tent, had come up to Viserys and was mentioning that, perhaps he should have Rhaenyra and Laenor, get married together because obviously that would mend the friction between Corlys and Viserys that has grown within the past 3 years, obviously since the Battle of the Stepstones started, and he was also, Lord Strong was also the one to mention Laenor's younger sister that we saw in the earlier episode walking with Viserys. They should get married, but of course Viserys chose Alicent instead. But yeah, this is going to be big later on because obviously, Laenor is Corlys' son, and of course he's of pure Valyrian blood, and he will be, of course, marrying Rhaenyra. So he is, of course, Rhaenyra's first husband. So yeah, it's going to be big. Yeah, it's going to be big in another episode or two, I think. But back to Daemon, man. I mean, yeah, like you were saying, he comes out there with like just half of the crab feeder, just dragging him out. There.
I wouldn't even say it's half. I think it's a third.
whatever, man. I mean, just he chopped him in half, basically. That's
and he chopped him into pieces.
But I mean, the crab feeder. It's interesting. Like as he was, commanding his troops to go out there, every single time you saw him, he's like looking in the air, waiting for Daemon's dragon to come. He was thinking, oh, he's just doing this to try to get my troops out there so that Caraxes can come and burn him. But yeah, it's a good plan. But
he still fell for it. He still had his archers, still had a bunch of his men out. Like the crab feeder, as smart as he was, he's just like he made one display because he's always looking, and then it's like he kept sending more and more men.
Yeah.
You obviously, to anyone, this looked like a trap. So I really can't see how the crab feeder would just entertain this. Yeah. I would have just had my men and me go in a cave, but at the cave entrances, have my archers ready, and if Daemon kept coming, just start firing arrows to the cave entrances.
Yeah. So anyway, the episode ends here, and obviously next week's episode is titled King of the Narrow Sea. So obviously we know who that is. Of course, Daemon's going to be coming back to King's Landing and saying, hey, I'm the King of the Narrow Sea. What do you have to say about that? And that's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward. I'm excited to the next episode to see how it plays out.
The next episode, especially if you watch the little teaser they give.
Oh yeah, we saw that. Yeah.
Oh, that is going to be a great episode. I can't wait to see.
Yep. So let us know in the comments, obviously, what you think of Daemon there on the Stepstones, and Laenor's, of course, his strategies, and what did you think of Rhaenyra's arc in this last episode? Please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you like this episode, be sure to, of course, hit that like and the subscribe buttons, as well as the notification bell for when we drop a new episode here of House of the Dragon, or reactions and reviews, as well as, of course, we're doing the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power series as well here on the Arena Fantasy Series discussion portal. And of course, we have other shows as well as our Star Wars, our Star Trek shows. We're doing Star Trek Lower Decks if you're into Star Trek. And of course, we also do video game news and our podcast, The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. So yeah, lots of content here on the Arena Productions. So like I said, click that notification bell to be notified when we drop a new video. So I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burley. So this has been our episode 3 of House of the Dragon, second of his name, review and reactions. So we hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Out.
Dracarys.